Hey guys, welcome to Comic Basics. I'm Joel, and today's episode, Flash of Two Worlds. Flash of Two Worlds was published during September of 1961 in the now iconic issue of The Flash, number 123. Not only is it one of the most respected Flash stories of all time, Flash of Two Worlds did what very few could do before it: meld two worlds and universes together. As the first few pages unfold, the reader sees Iris West holding a charity event for the Picture News Orphan Fund Group. An event like this usually comes with a little bit of stress attached to it. For Iris, it was no different. Everything appeared to be running smoothly until she realized that the magician who was to perform for the children didn't show up. As luck would have it, and as you may or may not know, she has become involved with the fastest man alive, the Flash. Barry Allen, the Flash, known for his quick entrances, shows up just in time for Iris to explain what's happened. Without missing a step, Barry puts on his Flash costume and steps in for the missing magician. The Flash spends his time dazzling the children with various tricks that require the use of his super speed. For his last trick, he begins to vibrate his hands at super speed. Without notice, a length of the rope appears, and through his speed, Barry begins to levitate above the ground, and like great magicians of the past, he disappears from the stage. As Barry re-emerges, he quickly realizes that he has no idea where he is. After a little investigation, he comes to understand that he is not in his home of Central City. He picks up a nearby newspaper and discovers that he is in Keystone City, or the city of the fictional comic book hero, Jay Garrick. He comes to realize that as he vibrates at super speed, a dimensional barrier had opened up and he wound up in the past. Now fully aware where he was, Barry sought out the comic book hero of the era. The Flash reaches the Garrick house, and to his disbelief, he meets an older version of Jay Garrick. Barry explains that he is the new age version of the Flash, and that because of who he is, he knows who Jay is. Jay confesses to Barry that he was contemplating coming out of retirement. This was primarily due to the recent wave of crimes that were transpiring in Keystone City. After hearing this, Barry offers to help his counterpart solve the crimes. It wouldn't take long for the reader to find out that the three behind the deeds were the Thinker, the Fiddler, and the Shade. For anyone who doesn't know, the Thinker uses the hypnotic thinking cap, the Fiddler uses the violin that sends destructive sound waves, and the Shade, he conveniently creates layers of darkness that cover his actions. Now working together, the two separate, and the reader follows the exploits of the Thinker. The Thinker has arrived at the Jarvis estate in an attempt to steal the valuable Neptune Cup. Upon his arrival, he uses his thinking cap to force the guard dogs to tell Jay of his arrival, should Jay arrive. He then hypnotizes the butler of the estate to hand over the cup. Jay arrives at the scene and is, in fact, told that the Thinker is on the estate grounds stealing the Neptune Cup. He quickly rushes around the corner, only to find that the Thinker has once again used his cap. This time, instead of using its powers of persuasion, he has used it to make it appear that there is more than one of him. Eventually, Jay figures out which of the Thinker is not a decoy and speeds after him. Unfortunately, the Thinker creates a wall of energy, and Jay runs right into it. Not knowing that Jay Garrick has been rendered unconscious, Barry Allen continues to give chase to the Shade. His chase takes him to some nearby docks. As he arrives, he sees that there is a cloud of black smoke rising from a distant yacht. At the docks, Barry looks to foil the Shade, who, at this point, believes him to be Jay Garrick in a different costume. Knowing of the way in which past encounters have turned out for him, the Shade wants no part of the Flash. Instead of putting up a fight, he jumps in a speedboat and covers his trail with a thick, black and slippery oil slick. Now having the same level of success as Jay, Barry makes his way to the Jarvis estate, where he meets up with Garrick. As the Fiddler rode through the streets of Keystone City, the sound waves from his playing violin caused the windows of the building to shatter. As a byproduct of the shattering, a steel girder began to tip and fall from its perch. Just as a street-level man was about to become flattened by the girder, Jay Garrick arrives and pulls him out of the way. While Jay was removing the man from harm, Barry deflected the girder. Like his accomplices, the Fiddler escapes the mayhem, and together they turn their attention to the Keystone City Museum. The two Flashes track down their enemies and, like the 3 times before, look to have been beaten when they are looked to have been hypnotized. Under hypnosis, the Flashes are forced to dance and steal the precious jewels the museum held. Just as the 3 criminals look to collect their treasure, the Flashes awaken and put a stop to them. When asked how they were able to get away from the hypnosis, Jay explains that while they were asked to steal and dance, there was no instruction that prevented them from escaping. More than that, while robbing the jewels, the 2 smartly plugged their ears with some jewels that somewhat distorted the effects of the hypnosis. The story ends with the crooks apprehended and the 2 Flashes saying goodbye to one another. Flash of Two Worlds is yet another great Flash story. Not only does the story pay homage and service to the Flash and its fans of the past, it does a great job of melding both the past and the present. And I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. Both, well, they really do help this channel grow. If you have any suggestions for other stories you want us to cover or give a synopsis of, leave it in the comments below and I'd love to do them for you. Thanks guys, I appreciate you coming by, I hope you'll come back, and until then, I'll catch you next time.